Good morning, good morning, good morning, good people out there. Today is Saturday, December 21st. This month is over already. Christmas is next Wednesday. Wednesday, December 21st, 2024. And here we are once again at G.school, our weekend G.school. Good morning, what not a bevy. So you're heading to North Carolina, is that right? I understand everybody's going to be in Catman Joe's. Okay, anyway, so here we are. Our theme of today is repetition, repetition, repetition. Good morning, Deanne. Good morning. How are you? Glad you're here. What's been happening with you? How are you doing? Anyway, here we are. Department of Career Services. Actually, it is G.school. Why are we here? Well, we are here. We, meaning me, am here. We, Department of Career Services, we, novum-u, G.school, are here to help our students and interested people on their journey through this life. And the evidence is coming in pretty clear that we have transcendent souls. How do we know? We know this because of real experiences after death, near-death experiences, etc., that we're resuscitating people, and a lot of people. It's not like one or two occasionally. It's like most of the time, I don't know if the word is most of the time, great deal of the time. Learning how to swim. Okay, it's Diana, not Deanne. Okay. Most of the time, or much of the time, people come back and talk about what just happened while they had no brain activity. And for those people who don't know, nothing is supposed to happen when you have no brain activity. Why? Why is nothing supposed to happen when you have no brain activity? Because you have no brain activity. Right? So if you think about that for a second, nothing is supposed to happen when you have no brain activity. Why? Because there's no brain activity. If you have no brain activity, how can you have anything happening in your brain? So more and more, the evidence is coming in. It's more and more like, do we have a transcendent soul? Yes or no? And it looks like we do. There's more evidence than that. Now, if it is true, what if it is true? If it's true, we have a transcendent soul. And when people come back, their experiences are related to what happens to them during that period of time, has a relation to their life. It's not just random. Good people experience good, not so good people experience not so good. Some people experience nothing. But it looks like not only do we have a transcendent soul, but that what happens next is related to what has happened in the past. And we got to believe something. So if we believe that's true, if we believe those two things are true, we have a transcendent soul, and the next spot is related to this spot, and it kind of makes sense, right? Why go through this if it has no, if everybody's going to the same place next, and it doesn't matter how you lived here or what your intentions were, it doesn't matter, then what's the point of this? But if where you go from here is influenced by what you did here, that kind of makes sense, right? You're here now, and then you're going to go somewhere else later. Where you're going to go is dependent upon where you are here. And if it turned out that we're going to the same place anyway next, and where we go next, what happened now has absolutely no impact, then you might as well do la vida loca. As much mayhem as you can. Take from others what makes you feel good. And that doesn't make sense because that doesn't pass the categorical imperative test, right? Life would be pretty bad if everybody went around taking things just because it made them feel good. That would not be a good thing to do. But what would be good is if what you did here impacted what happens next. So if you're really good here, that's a benefit for you, what happens next, right? But it's a benefit for everybody else around you here. Life is better, and that does pass the categorical imperative test. So if you believe those things, we have a transcendent soul, and what happens next is related to what happens here, then you should care about what happens here. And we are here to help you here prepare for there. First, we acknowledge it. We say that's what we believe. What if it's true? Now, what if it's not true? You live a good life, but either A, where we go next has no bearing on what we did here. We could have acted anyway. Everybody's going to end up in the same place. Does it hurt you? No. And you're going to go down in the memories of people. Now, what if when we die, we are just atoms in the void? Does it hurt us to lead a good life? No. Why? Because we will go down positively in the memories of people. Okay, I am telling you, it does matter what you rather you say, where you spinning in circles doing the same stuff over and over again, or you can meet your family in next level. Good morning, Maticus von Atticus. Okay, so we've got the triumphant, the triple triumphant, not the triple triumvirate, the triumvirate is back. It's been a long time since the three of you have been on. Okay, so our warm-up, this is for people who are not successful or who are not saved. Everyone is welcome. Why should somebody who's saved and successful watch it? Well, it's a good morning routine, a good thing to do every day because of our theme of today, repetition, repetition, repetition. And the key to moving forward in life is forward progress. Repetition, repetition, repetition. If you build on what you've done, you will get better at it. You will improve. It's just like going out practicing shooting, right? If you go out practice shooting, what's going to happen? You're going to get better at it. Repetition, repetition, repetition. Your motor skills are going to get better, right? You're going to be able to hit the target better. The other thing that's going to happen is you're going to be able to move it from conscious to unconscious. You don't need to think about it. You just do it. So you get better both ways. Repetition, repetition, repetition. You fine-tune your motor skills, hand-eye coordination, prestidigitation. I like that word. Prestidigitation. For some reason, a lot of women don't like it when I do that. I think it scares them. It's like that with Lucy. So prestidigitation is one thing. The other thing is it moves it from conscious to unconscious. It moves it from a conscious behavior to a habit. Repetition, repetition, repetition. There's a whole bunch of crying cats in the chat box. Not sure why. A lot of crying cats. So, oh, I get it. I get it. All right. So why are we here? To get better, salvation, improve our skills. But the key is repetition, repetition, repetition. Sense of community, right? We're all part of this. And Diana, maybe you can send me a text or an email of where you've been for the last couple weeks, what's going on with you. Don't really have time to do it now. But somebody asked me the other day, why do you keep doing these podcasts every morning? You're not getting millions of viewers. You're not getting 3 Brazilian viewers. You're not getting a large audience. Well, because it also is good for me, right? My repetition, my daily routine. What would I do if I wasn't doing this in the morning? The cops took my license plate and stole my holster out of my car. They insisted that the cop threw it back in, and that was caught on tape. He must have stolen it. Well, you can go down and say you want your license plate. I think you need to get a little bit tough with these guys. You want your license plate back. You broke no laws. They have no right to take your license plate. But you have so much junk in your car, you probably should take everything out anyway, organize it, get a couple milk crates from behind the supermarket and store your stuff in a better, neater fashion. So, G.school. I think, and so Wada Bevy, I've been working on the Canva thing. I think you can get into it also. Improved the La Vida Loca, went from 60 some pages back down into the 50s by putting things on one page. Might go back to 2 pages. So I have versions that have all of the pages on them. But repetition, repetition, repetition. What's on our hit parade for today? Advice from an 80-year-old. Don't expect life to be fair. Correct. That's the 4th law of power. Fairness only occurs between equals. The strong do what they can, and the weak suffer what they must. That's what that's what the Athenians said to the people of Miletus. I think that's what it was. When they said, hey, we don't want to choose sides between you and the Spartans. We just want to be neutral. And the Athenians said, no, you can't be neutral, because if we let you be neutral, that means we can't even dominate the weak. So you need to choose. And then the Spartans, or the Athenians, killed them anyway. Wiped them out. Because why? And they said, that's not fair. Well, our 80-year-old said, life isn't fair. Don't expect it to be fair. The Athenian said, fairness only occurs between equals. The strong do what they can, and the weak suffer what they must. Righto, old chap. Okay, Seth Godin. Let's see. Time is racing. Time is mediocre tools. That reminds me of Glenn Ross, or Santa's Workshop. Lousy tools are dangerous. They endanger our safety, physical or emotional, and undermine our work. Lousy tools are pretty easy to avoid because they reveal themselves whenever we use them. Great tools are magical. They multiply our effort, amplify the quality of our work, and delight us all at once. It's mediocre tools that we have to watch out for. They quietly and persistently corrupt our intent and force us to work harder on the parts that don't matter as much. Mediocre tools we watch out for. They quietly and persistently corrupt our intent and force us to work harder on the parts that don't matter much. Okay, got it. Mediocre tools, right. Our body is a tool. What is the elegant axiom? Our body is a machine controlled by a brain that distorts reality in order to survive and thrive. And if you break that down, that's pretty true. Our body's a machine. And if you look up the definition of a machine, our body would qualify for that. And a lot of people think that the purpose of our body is to enable our brain to locomote and do things. Otherwise, it just has ideas, right? It can think about things, but it can't do anything. So our body is a machine controlled by a brain. What happens if your brain dead? There's no control over your body. Okay, so those two things are true. Our body is a machine, and it is controlled by a brain that distorts reality. Well, yeah, the brain does distort reality in order to interpret it. We don't even know what reality actually is. We only know our interpretation of reality because we know of reality through our senses. Our eyes can only see certain wavelengths. Our ears can only hear within certain ranges. Our bodies can only take certain temperature, moisture, et cetera, extremes in order to function. So we experience a very thin slice of reality. And why does it do that? In order to survive and then thrive. Cool. Deanna, what's your email address? e@gschool-u.com. e@gschool-u.com. Okay, cool, people. Let's see what else we got here on the hit parade. TED Talk. Jerry Maguire. Quitting scene, right. So this is how to not tell a compelling story. So today we're going to see a not compelling story. So Jerry Maguire, the whole premise of the movie was we need to change the status quo. We need to be smaller, more customer service. Got him fired, right? How are we doing for time? Got him fired. So he wants to change the status quo, telling a story to get people to quit and come with him. And it only worked with one person, Dorothy Boyd, in accounting. So this is how not to tell a compelling story. But you see all of the elements are there. Find part of the status quo to change. Tell a compelling story. Connect the true believers, ignore the non-true believers, and then lead them. And he gets back on track because the story is compelling to one person, Dorothy. And then he didn't really ignore. Once he got Dorothy, he ignored the other people. And from that point forward, he did. Okay, time is racing. Gotta go. Gotta get on the peloton. It's Saturday after all. Christmas is approaching. Christmas is approaching. Let's see. She learned. Well, it resonated with Dorothy. He told a story that was compelling to her. It wasn't compelling to everyone else because they had their jobs and they were satisfied enough that they weren't willing to quit. But I'm going to say, and cut. You got to have the sound effect. Try that again.